Hello and welcome to another special Sudoku solve video. Today I'm trying to continue the Sudokuvania puzzle. I am in my finals week, so I am trying to balance school and, you know, well, no, it's not balance. I have a priority for school. So yeah, I will act to that, I guess. Also, I just started filling in digits because I saw stuff. I saw this 5 with a 6 and a 7. Um, but that's all normal Sudoku rules, so I will just fill in what I know. That now... Oh, that could be a 1 because that is not correct. Okay, never mind. What do I want to say? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, and 7. But that's not a 1. And this is 3, 5, 5, and 8. But that's not a 3. Okay. So 4, 4. Oh, we can place the 4. So this is a 4. And I think that has all the 4s in this puzzle placed. Yes. Cool. What digit then? If that is a 7 and that is a 7, but that does seem fine. If that is a 7 and one of those is a 7, but that also seems fine. 2s I have pencil marked here, so that's not a 2. With that being a 1 or a 7. Well, okay, so where can 1 go within this row? It can only go there or there. Because the 1 cannot be in the bulb. And 6 can either go there or there. Or there, never mind. Okay. I thought I had something. What am I missing in this row? It is 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5. It's not 6. Could be 7. It's not 8. It could be 9. No, that is too big of a bigger than a pencil mark than I thought it'd be. Okay. So where then? This cannot be 8 or 9. Well, it could never have been 9, but because of this 3. Not 6, not 8, not 9. It could be 7. What can it be? It cannot be a lot of stuff. It cannot be 1, because of then this would be bigger than it. It cannot be 2, cannot be 3, cannot be 4. Could be 5. It couldn't be 6. Could be 7. Couldn't be 8, right? Why did I think it couldn't be 8? Because I think it can be 8. Oh no, it couldn't be 8 because then the whisper would be correct. Yes, okay, so it cannot be 8 and it cannot be 9. So it's only 5 or 7. So this also cannot be 8. But why would that be important? I don't think it is. The 5, 7 pencil mark, that is a lot of 5s. But still 4 different digits. Yeah, that can be, this cannot be 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is also a minimum of 5. Could be 6, not 7. Could be 8. Or 9 even. But what I think the point is... No, I don't think there is a point. That is still, yeah, that is still too many different digits. If that cannot be a 9 though, we have a 5, 6, 7, 8. Quadruple, if that cannot be 9 for some reason. But I think it could be 9. And this 8 goes with a 5, a 6, or a 7. That doesn't seem too important. This has to be bigger than this, but it already is. This has to be bigger than this, meaning it has to be at least 6, so it can be 5, 6, 2, 5, or 6. Still not a lot of options, because it can be 1, 3, or 4. If it's 5, that is a 7, that is a 2. But that all seems fine to me. Right, so where do I find some piece of logic? It is not this black dot, because that only disallows a 4 from those two. So it's not that. It's probably just Sudoku that I'm missing. 3 seems to be in one of those. And I don't see anything with that. 3 is in one of those. No, 1s. Well, 1 is in one of those two. I think that is interesting. And 1 is in one of those. But that doesn't matter too much. I don't know the rules for this puzzle. Is it 9 by 9? It is. Okay, I don't know what these things are. We're not there yet, so let's wait. I did 1, 2, 3, I did 4. Let's do 5 if we're looking. 5 is in one of those two. Sure, I'll pencil mark that. Anything else with 5s? I don't think so. 6s? Sixes don't seem too interesting either. There is a 6 in this arrangement somewhere, so it's in one of those. That's a 6, that is a 7, but it doesn't impact that in any way. So let's look at 7s. I have these pencil marked. But that could be a 7. 8. 8 seems even less restricted. 9 then. 9 is not in any of these, so 9 is in one of those. So 9 is up here, which aligns with those 9s, which just makes one of those to a 9. That is interesting for this 4 clue though. So maybe that's the point. This one is bigger than that, because no, it's smaller than that. Because it's a wrong thermometer. So it goes from big to small. So these two are seen. Whatever they are seen. And the 9 is being seen. So that's already 3 digits. These two are all obscured by whatever this is. So where does 8 go in the column? I think is a fair question to ask. Because 8 cannot be there, because then you just see the 8 and the 9, which would make that a 2. That's incorrect. 8 is in one of those two. So 8 cannot be in any of those. So this is the only place 8 can go in the column. which makes it so the 8 and the 9 are seen. These two are seen. So what does that mean? That's everything you can see. So you, with this digit, you have to obscure this digit. So this cannot be a 6, because then that would have to be a 7. Because if that's the 6 and that's a 7, then you have 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is then a 5. Or it doesn't have to be a 5, but there is no digit to obscure the 6 with. It can also be a 2, but it has the same problem. That doesn't work, so that cannot be a 6. Now could that be a 5? If that's a 5, that's a 7, that could be a 6, and that does work. I'm going to highlight that. If that's a 2, that could be a 5. Oh no, I'm not going to highlight that. That's a lot of options, I think. Oh, this couldn't be a 6. Right, this couldn't be a 6. So if that's 5 and that's 7, we have a problem. That's 5 and that's 7, we have a problem. Because then this would have to be a 6. Because it has to obscure the 5. Okay, so that's a 2. And this, whatever it is, obscures the 2, but not this digit. Could it ever obscure that digit? Right, because the other digit that I don't place here goes there with the 9. So that is obscured. So this has to obscure one digit. So it has to obscure the 2. Because, yeah, okay. So that is then 5. It isn't 6. And we know it's not 7. So that's a 5. And that's a 7. And then this is a 6-9 pair. You know, I'm as always, I'm scared that that's incorrect, but I think that does feel logical to me. Which, it feels right is a bad argument, I think. But that seemed correct. Now I said that 6 is in one of those. If that is a 6... Well, if that's a 6, this has to be bigger than it, so it would have to be 8 or 9, but I think that does work. I don't see why it wouldn't. Well, that's now not a 5 anymore. So this has to be smaller than this, but that's... Since this is already a high digit, that's fair enough. Can I now maybe place more in this box? That's not a 7. That's not a 7, so that's a 7. That's a 1. What am I missing? A 3 and a 5. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait with this. Because I think I can resolve this whole puzzle at this point. 5 makes that a 6. That a 7. That a 6. Makes that a 2. That a 7. Is that not a 5? I should be able to resolve everything, right? I said that is then a 5. What am I missing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9 I'm missing. 8 and 9. Is that not resolved? Or am I? Oh, I'm missing something. Okay. 6, 9, 8, 9, 2, 3, 2, 8. Then in this column I'm missing 1, 5, and 9. Well, okay. Oh, not 8. 1, 5, and 9. Well, we know the 5 is not there, so it's there. So we know that that's not a 9. We know that that's a 9. So we know all of these digits. It's 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. That couldn't be 8 because then that would be smaller than it. Yeah, 3 removes that, so that's fine. Oh, this 1 places the 9 and the 1. These 2 digits are... Oh well, we can place the 9, I guess. And we can place the 7 as well. This digit is 1, 2, 3, 4. That is a 5. Now I'm missing a 6 and an 8. So that's a 3. That's a 5. That's an 8. That's a 3. That must be a 6. That must be an 8. And that's the whole Hall of Illusions. Wow, okay. What is this boss? With a 2. Boss marked off. Oh, I haven't done this yet? Okay, well. 4, 8, 8, and 1. Now let's see. Yes, that's all of those. Now we are on to the throne room. Okay. I am gonna take a moment and look at it for a second. Okay. I haven't done anything yet. I'm gonna try and wing it for as far as I can. These, it is just a normal 9x9, right? I assume it to be. The dazzling wealth on display in the castle's highest tower puts the rest of it to shame. Who knew Sudoku could be so lucrative? I don't know if it is. That's a 2, because it points to where the 3 goes. Right, okay. So dark cells were... In this puzzle they were maximum, here they are minimums. So these are... Yes, they are, right? Yes, they're minimums, okay. Dark cells are the minimum. They are the smallest digit that is around itself. So these cannot be 1, otherwise this cannot be smaller than it. So that's not a 1. Those aren't 1 by Sudoku, so one of those is a 1. Now, oh well, no, never mind, that could be a 1 itself. That doesn't say anything. If that's a 1, that's a 5. This says where the 1 goes. Right, okay, and it cannot reference itself. 1 cannot go in any of these, because this cannot be, well, because of that. So 1 goes into one of those. So I'm going to label that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. Well, it doesn't say 4. It cannot be in the 6th slot, because then it will be there. And then this will break, so that's not true. It cannot be in 7 because of the box. So it's either there or in one of those. Interesting. Three, then. I mean, they all have to sort of interact with each other, right? All of these clues, because I think that's a logic that's being intended. I'm just gonna pencil mark that for a second, because again, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, it isn't 4 because of the box. It isn't 7 because of the box. Now, if it's there, then this has to be smaller than it. So if that's a 6, that's a 5. And that places either 3 or 4 on this. If it is 5, then there's a 1 on here. If it is 8 or 9, then the 1 is a 5. And that's a 5. Because it cannot be there with a 2. Right, okay. Is there a reason why this couldn't be a 6? If that's a 2, what's the problem we run into? Then that's a 5. Then we have a 3 or a 4 on there with an 8 or a 9. But that does seem fine to me. Okay, so this is just straight up 5, 6, 8, or 9 because of the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. One of those is 5 or 6, and the other is 8 or 9. Right, because of the division of 3. 1, 3 can be in those 3, 1 can be in those, and 1 can be in those. So one of those has to be 8 or 9, and the other has to be 5 or 6. So this cannot be a 5, 6 pair. If that's a 6, if that's a 2, that has to be a 1, and then that has to be a 5. That breaks. So that doesn't work. So one of them is a 6. One of those is a 6. Which does mean that in the 6th column, there is a 3. That's that one. So one of those is a 3. Now if that's a 3, that has to be smaller than it again. So then either one of those has to be a 5. If that's a 3, this same doesn't apply. If this is an 8 or a 9, right, then what are we saying? Okay, so if that's an 8, place a 3 there, which places a 9 there, which places a 9 there, which places a 3 with it, and that breaks. So if that's an 8, that breaks. That doesn't work. I think 9 will have the same problem, right? Because then 9 can go with a 4, and that does work. Well, no, the 9 says that that's a 3. Oh, no. The 9 says that that's a 3. That does work. I was looking at it. It's such a simple simple mistake to make. 9 goes with a 3, then that's an 8 or a 9. So that would have to be an 8, which would place another 8 there, which doesn't work. So that's our 5 or 6. And that's our 8 or 9. So that has to be the 6. That has to be our 3. Whoa, okay. No, I'm gonna see if I can do more, because I think I can. One of those is now a 5. So this is a 1 or a 2. We kind of knew, because it has to be smaller than that. Okay. That's not a 6. And place a 3 into one of those. Okay. So the high digit on here, well, it could be 7. No, that could be 7. So what then? Because I don't think this does too much, right? Am I gonna have to count? Do I have any of the coins done yet? No, I don't. I have everything filled in, so it should mark it down there, and then I can rule out digits and coins, I guess. Well, this does contain a high digit. This does contain a 5 and a high digit, so we have one more high digit to place. And the other digit is... well, that could be a 1, and that could be a 2, and then that could be a 2. Where does 4 go? No, I don't think that is too interesting. Where does 1... No, that doesn't make sense. Things have to interact with each other, I'm fairly certain, because that's how this puzzle has been working this whole time. If that is an 8 or a 9, place a 2 on there. That goes with 7, or the other digit of 8 and 9. then that's a 5. That's a 5. So 1 or 2 is definitely on here. But we kind of knew that already. So that I don't think it's too surprising. So what then? That couldn't be a high digit, right? No. Because if that is 6, 7, 8, or 9, we place 2 high digits in this column. And there's 1 high digit on here. This is a high digit. So we have 3 high digits. So that couldn't even be a 5. So that is 1, 2, 3, or 4. Because if it's a 5, it places 2 high digits there. And then we have too many high digits. If that is 4, it places the minimum of 1 high digit. But that does work. It's not 2, we know that. Okay, so if it's 4, five could be there. If it's 4, no, if it's 4, that's not the case. If it's 4, it's one of those. And then the other is still a high digit, and then that's a small digit. But we could have 1, and then we could have the small digit around it. So where does 9 go within this box? Because this one has a partner. We don't know if this has any blank cells next to it. That cannot be a 9, that cannot be a 9, and that cannot be a 9. So one of those is a 9. I don't like that. What can this digit be? Because, right, again, 8 or 9 is on here. But I place a... Well, that could be a 7. And then we could have 8 or 9 here, I think. Right, because we need the other digit of 5, 8, and 9 somewhere. That plays that already. These place that, or a 1 or 2 in here. And both seem to work. This is much less restricted. These things point a lot more to these instead of those. It does also put a small digit there. So then we have, if we can rule out 4 maybe? No. But we couldn't because I tried. Right then. And what now? If we don't have 1, if this is not 1, then we have... No, that's not what I was thinking about. Could 4 be on the whisper? Only one of those coins can be 1, right? That is something to keep in mind. So, oh, is that what we have to do? Sorry, I'm going to look at the coin rule for a second. It indicates the number of coins bearing that digit on the entire map. Okay. We know that one of these 3 is a 1. So that's not a 1. So, okay. We also know that one of those is a 2. Is there another coined 2 somewhere? 7s, 8s, 9s. Oh. Is there another coined 2? I only see very high digits, so I don't think that is too relevant. 2. No, I don't see it. If there is, I probably missed it, but that's okay. We know that that's not a 1 now. So these have to be higher than whatever it is. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. Well, not 6. Why I'm numbering that so aggressively? If that is 3, these cannot be too high digits, right? So one of those would have to be 4 or 5. But only one of them, which bothers me. Yeah, okay. Am I going to have to count the coins? I hope not. One of those is 1. That's what we know, and the other is 2. So we can have one more coin with a 2 on it. Then we're going to have to count the 8s and the 9s. I don't think that is something SkepticalMario would do, but that 1 is fair. That 1 is very, very fair. Let's think. If that is 4, then that is 5, and that is some digit of 7, 8, or 9. And this is some digit of 7, 8, or 9. Then we still need to place 3, another digit of 7, 8, or 9, and a 1. So 1 does go in one of those. And not in the coins, because there's already a 1, so we know that that's a 1. So we have more, but we have a black dot going out of the box for some reason. So one of those is a 1. We know that that's not a 1. We know the coins are not a 1, so we know that that's a 1. I'm going to remove that pencil mark because I don't like it. So that's a 3 or a 4, so it goes with an 8 or a 9, so there's no 8 or 9 in any of these. Well, then I'm going to reinstate that 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. We know that that's not an 8 or a 9. So we have a 4, 5, 7. Does one of those... No, it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. Yes, no, there is a 3 or a 4 on here. So that forms basically a 3, 4 pair. So that's not 4. We know that that's a 5, 7 pair now. So where does anything go anywhere? This just has to be bigger than 3 or 4, but that's not too difficult. Do I know more than I think I do? That's not a 1, that's not a 1. Well, we know that that contains a 3 or a 4 with an 8 or 9. I was about to just start counting the digits, which I'm happy I didn't do. 4 goes with 9, but that could now be a 3 or a 4. So these have a 1 in their coin. If that's a 1, then one of those is a 1. So what then? 2 doesn't go there, but 2 can go in any of these. Okay, that's interesting. Oh well, okay, so that, I was gonna say then that has to be some black dot digit, right? Because we learned that, I think it was here, black dots always border 2 digits, and blank cells are ignored. So that does mean that this has to have a digit that can be doubled. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8. And we know that it's not 1, but that could be, that isn't restricted by whatever is here. It just says that this is 2, 3, 4, 6, or 8. Well, it's not 4, I guess. Which, is that interesting? I don't know. But there is a 3 or 4 on a coin now. There's another 3 or 4 on a coin now. So maybe that is starting to restrict something. This has to be smaller than this, so that can be most a 6. But that could be like that, right? Yes, I don't see a problem with this. This now does contain a 1 or a 2. Maybe even with a 7. I don't see a problem with that. This has to be bigger than this, so this just has to be what, like that. But that could just not be 5 or 7. 4, 6, 8, or 9. And that's not too forcing. Except if that's a 9, then we know that 9 is in one of those. And we're going to have to count the 8s and the 9s in coins. I am going to take some time and I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, I counted, and what I have labeled now is I have 1 4, 2 5s, 3 6s, 4 7s, 5 8s, and 5 9s. And I've not counted anything in here. We have a 1 in one of those. We have a 2 in one of those. Then we have an 8 9 pair, so one of both into these. So we have 6 8s and 6 9s. You have a 3 4 pair, so that's 1 3 and 1 4. And then we have whatever this is. But that could be 5 8 or 9. And all of them do work. So yes, that is just, I'm gonna fix my markings. That doesn't say anything. We have 2 more 8s in circles to play, so that could be anything, honestly. So what then? So if it's not that, what is it? The small digit on there is a 1 or a 2, right? Yes. So either that's a 4 or that's a 4. And if that's an 8 or a 9, then it goes with a 7. If that's a 4, then that's a 2 or a 3. But both are still available. If that's a 4, that doesn't do anything. Then what is the other digit, right? Because then this contains 7, 8, or 9. So we still need to place one of the digits of 7, 8, or 9, because one of those is a 5. So then the other digit is a 7, 8, or 9. Four here is the biggest problem, because then that's a 2 or a 3. But 2, that's fine, I think. 7, 8, or 9 just gives that the option to be 4, 5, or 6 as well. None of those can be a 1. But that could be a 1 if it's in a black cell. And all of those could be 1s. So that is irrelevant, I think. Oh, this has to be... Wow, that has to be smaller than this. Wow. Money. What does the money do? What's the money bags? What do the money bags do? Is that anything? I don't think it is anything. Also, we can do another food thing. Oh, let's do that. It sums to 19. So 8, 14, 19. So between 7 and 8. Between 3 and 8. Does that work? Between 3 and 8. No, that doesn't work. So 19 somewhere else. 11, 12, 20, that doesn't work. 17, 19. So between 4 and 5. Between 4 and 5. 17, 19. And there must be a third one. Between 4 and 5. 16, yeah, between 4 and 5. So that is 4 and 5. Then we have the hamburger. Hamburger sums to 9. Between 4 and 6. Or between 2 and 9. Between 4 and 6 or 2 and 9. Where's the other hamburger? Here. Between 2 and 9. And it's not 4 and 6, so between 2 and 9. Where's the last hamburger? Where's the final hamburger? Why can I not find it? Oh, here. Between 2 and 9. Yes, that's okay. So that's it. Between 2 and 9. And that's the food. That's the wall sandwiches done. Okay. But I don't think the money bags do anything. I think it's just haha money. But now if that's a 4, then that is a 3. So that is something. And we know that these... So where can 1 go? Right, it's only in one of those. It's not in a coin, so we know that that's a 1. And that gives us an arrow. We have all the 2s placed, so this is not 1 or 2, so that's a minimum of 3 and 4. So that's a minimum of 7. I think counting the coins was a good idea. So we have another 2. I'm gonna label that. Just to keep track, right? But I don't know, because I also have all the pencil marks and stuff. So we need to place a 3 here as well. Because 3, if it's in one of those, then this has to be smaller than it. Well, okay, so whatever it goes next to, it also goes next to another one. So 3 is in one of those. So it's not there, so it's in one of those 2. So 3 is in one of those. How many coin 3s do I have? I labeled this one. And I don't have the other one. Well, okay, can this not contain a 3? Yes, it could be 4 or 5. It could be a 4 or 5 pair, and that does work with the amount of coins we have. Okay. One of those is a 1. Could be a 1 if it's in a black cell. So does 4 have the same problem? Because 4 has to go with 3 and 1 or 2. No, 4 could be there. And that would then have to be a 3. Or 4 couldn't be there, 4 couldn't be there. 4 couldn't be there. So 4 is in one of those. So now if that is a 4, that forces that to be a 4. And then 5 only makes it better. So yeah, that doesn't work. Okay, no, that doesn't work. So what are we looking at? What is a useful thing to look for? Coins now cannot contain 2s anymore, so those couldn't be 2, so one of those is a 2. So one of those is a 2. Well, that's not a 2 because of Sudoku, so that's a 2. That reveals more. It isn't 3, 6, it is not 1, 2, so it could be 2, 4 or 4, 8. But it always contains a 4. So that's the 3. So that's the 3. That's now the 4. And 3 could still go with 8 or 9, and it doesn't say anything. 2, 4, or 8. Yes, okay. Progress is progress, I think. I am going to... Well, let's just continue until the boss. However far that may be, I have no clue. One of those is 2. This has to be bigger than a 4, but that's fair enough. But that's not a 4. 6, 8, or 9. If this is 4, 8, then that's a 2. But that always contains the 4. That's another 4 in a coin. Is there... Okay, so 3 is in one of those two. Now we have 6, 8, or 9. I don't like that. Maybe it's something I'm going to have to deal with, but it is... For now, it is what it is. Still bothered by this, because if it's 7, it's 3, 4. If it is 8, it is 3, 5, because it cannot contain a 1 or a 2. If it is 9, it is 4, 5. Right. So if it is... If it contains a 3, it aligns with those 3s and makes one of those a 3 because of Sudoku. Makes exactly that a 3. So if this contains... Oh, so that's a problem. If this contains a 3, then that contains a 3. That's 2 3s on coins. One of those is a 3 on a coin, so that couldn't be a 3. So we have nowhere to place a 3, so that doesn't contain a 3. So that is a 9. And that basically reveals the whole puzzle. So that's another 9 on a coin. That's 7. That's another 4 and a 5 on a coin. Another 4 and a 5. I don't know. I am still scared that I'm gonna miscount something in those coins. That can now not be a 1 anymore. If that's a 2, that's a 1, so that's a problem as well. So that's a 1-2 pair. So what then? That contains a 4, that contains a 4, so one of those is a 4. If that is a 4, well no, that just has to be bigger than it. Then that has, if that isn't a 4, then this is 2 or 3. Which, could it be? Couldn't be 2, because we already have all the 2s on coin, so it would be a 3. Which will be the third 3 on a coin. That does work. That does work. Okay. Oh well, that one places that too. I could have seen that way before. That makes that a 5. That an 8 or a 9. So that's a 1. So that couldn't be a 2, so one of those is 2. One of those is a 3 as well. If that is a 3, then that breaks. So that's not a 3. So that's another 3 on a coin. So that's a 3 on a coin, that's a 3 on a coin, and that is a 3 on a coin. So basically that just couldn't be a 3. So where can 4 go? Because this cannot be 1, 2, or 3, so that cannot be 4, that cannot be 4. Well, that couldn't be 4 because of Sudoku, so one of those is a 4. Okay, after that, I said one of these is a 4, and I went to this has to be a 4 then. But that's wrong. That could be a 4. So at this point we know that one of those is a 4. Right, okay. That is a minor mistake, I think. So we know that that's not a 3, we know that that's not a 4. So it's a minimum of 5. So this has to be 6, 7, 8, or 9. These all have to be 6, 7, 8, or 9. And that is 5, 6, 7, or 8. Right, so we need to place 3 somewhere in this row. So there, right? Before I make a mistake, let's double check. That cannot be a 3, that cannot be a 3. Well, that cannot be a 3, because that can then not be a 1 or a 2. That cannot be smaller than it, so that has to be a 3. So that has to be a 3. So we know that that is an 8. We know that that's a 9. We know that that's a 1. And then we know that this is 7, 8, or 9. Well, not 9. We know that that's 7 or 8. We know that this, if that's 4, that can be 3. And that can be 4. Okay. I'm slightly sad that I made a mistake, but it is, you know, how it goes. 3s, I have all the 3s in coins because one of those is a 3, one of those is a 3, and one of those. So that's not 3. So this is the only place 3 can go in the box. So we know that that's a 3. Right. So now we know that that's a 4. And that's not a 4. Yeah. Okay. Now this is 6, 8, or 9. Right, this is the only place 5 can go. Oh no, no, this could also contain 5. But that couldn't be a 5. Well, one of these top... Oh, no, none of those could be a 5, because this is a 5-7 pair. Okay, I need to lock in. So that's a 5. That's a 7. 6, 7, 8, 9, that's the last digit. That cannot be 9, because there is no digit that connects to it, so that's a 3 or 4. It's outside of the grid, but it still counts. This 8 makes that a 3-9 pair. And we're going to have to count coins again. I surely hope not. But we'll see. 6, 8, 9. Yeah, no. Right. So where does 5 go? If this is 5, this has to be smaller than it, and that doesn't work. So that has to be our 5. Then that's not a 7. I thought I removed that pencil mark, but apparently I didn't. So 4 cannot be there. Oh, 4 is in one of those. Should have seen. 4 aligns with those 4, so one of those is a 4, so one of those two is a 4. Oh, that can now not be a 4 anymore because that is bigger than it, so that's a 4. And this is our 7 or 8. That pairs up with that one. These cannot be 1s, so one of those two is a 1. Right, that's all our 4s, right? Because these are 4, that's a 4, that's a 4. And then I think somewhere here there was a 4 in a coin, if I remember correctly. I want to see it before I continue. Did I remember wrong? Oh no, there are 4 in a coin. So there is no 4 in this coin. Because 1, 2, then that one down there is 3, and then 4. So that's not a 4, that is our... Well, then that's a 4. And then that has to be smaller than a 4, so that's a 3. Alright, so 3, 3, so one of those is a 3. 9, oh, well, that places the 9 in the 3, places the 3. Oh, well, 2 is in one of those, we know this. So what am I missing? I think I placed all the 3s. I placed all the 3s. Did I place all the 4s? No. But I don't think I can. We know that 4 is in one of those with either a 2 or an 8. That's a 6, that's a 6, but that does work. Fives in one of those, sure. This is just 6, 7, 8, or 9. The top digits in Sudoku, that's not a 7. So, okay, so did I use all of these? Yes, that places that one, that places that one. This places that places that, and this is that one, yes. So that's not a 3 anymore. This 1 places the 1 and the 2. So one of those is a 2. One of those is a 1, that's a 1. So that's a 1. Does that place all our 1s? Now it does. Where is our boss puzzle? I don't know. I don't know where. What? Sorry, that confused me. I was planning to do this until the boss puzzle. And there is a boss puzzle. I just haven't figured out where yet. I haven't counted those coins further. Maybe I should have, and now I've sort of lost the count. I don't know how good of an idea that was. Well, that has to be a 9 because of Sudoku. So that's not a 9. One of those a 9, but sure. Two, 3, 4, and 5 in one of those aligns with those. So one of those is a 5, so that's a 5. Right. So this is also 6, 7, or 8? Yes. Hmm. Is this the only place where 5 can go? Yes, this is the only place where 5 can go in a row. Makes sense. So 5s then? 5, 5. So one of those is 5, and that places our 5 and our 4 with a 4 there. This is now still 6, 8, or 9. And this, yes, is what it is. So what do we still need to place? We need to place a 2. 2 cannot be there. 2 cannot be those, not in those. So that's a 2. So that places a 2 on this black dot, making it a 2-4 pair. Making that another 6 or 8. Oh, well, we can place the 4 and the 2. So this is 6, 7, or 8. Right, okay. Does it say... Oh, I sometimes it does that. Okay. Does it say which coins we've collected already? No, it doesn't. Why doesn't it? How do I mark which coins I've collected? Oh, there I can just mark how many I have, I think. Ah, okay. I will probably do that when I'm not recording, because that's quite a hassle. I have all the 3s. Do I have all the 1s? I do. Do I have all the 2s? No, I don't. 2. Did I not place a 2 there? I'm sorry. I'm apparently forgetting things. 2. That's all the 2s. 3s. 4s. One of those is a 4. That's a 4. That's all the 4s. All the 5s. Not quite. One of those a 5 and one of those a 5. Then do I have... Yes, I have 1, 6. Then I have a 7. 9 then. Look a bit more extreme. One of those is a 9. Am I going crazy? I thought I removed this. I might be. So what then? Is it coin counting? I think it will be coin counting. Those being a 5. If I have all the 5s in coins, that would, you know, say something. Let's see. I had some marked down. I don't think I have enough 5s to say something useful about that. I have all the 3s. I have all the 4s. Maybe I have all the 9s as well. I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna count. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, I'm pretty sure I counted everything correctly. I have all the 9s and I have all the 5s. I'm just missing 6, 7, and 8. So any coin could just only be 6, 7, and 8. So that's 6. Oh, no. That is 6, 7, or 8. And that has to be a 5. Coins cannot be 9, so that's a 9. So neither of those are 9s. Coins could just be 6, 7, or 8. Let's just pencil mark that. So then that's a 5. So that's a 5. That is then as well 6, 7, or 8. 6, 7, or 8, so I'm missing a 9. 9. So here as well, it's 6, 7, or 8, right? And then that is 6, 7, or 8 as well. So that's a 6 and an 8. So that's not 6 or 8. But that's 1 6 and 1 8 added to it. So that turns to 4 and that turns to 7. So I have one more 8 on a coin. One more 8 on a coin. That's, wow, okay. If that is 7, place an 8 on a coin here and an 8 on a coin there. That breaks, so that's an 8. So that's a 7. I hope I counted everything correctly. I'm very scared that I double counted things, but I don't think I did. I don't know. So one of those is an 8. Oh, well, that doesn't matter at that point. Didn't that just fix everything? I hoped it would. So that's now not a 6 or a 7, so that's an 8. So one of those is an 8. So that's not an 8. That is not an 8. That is not an 8. Rough. Okay. Do I have to start counting those 6 and 7s as well then? I don't want to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 8, 9. Oh, 6, 8, 9, I said. So that contains a 6, so that's a 7. That is a 6. Right, okay. Is there anything that I'm missing? I think I'm locked at that point. I'm gonna have to recount those digits again, because I didn't keep track. That's 2 more 7s at least, and 1 more 6. So that would be 5 and that would be 6. So I have 1 more 7 to place. 1 more 7, 1 more 8, and 1 more 9. That's that. 1 more 6, 7, and 8. So that's that. That's those 3. Those 3 form all different digits, I guess. But they're not looking at the same cell, so I don't think that that matters at all. So this is that. This is locked. No, wait, where does 7 go in this box? It goes there. So that's not a 7. So that's a 9. So we have a 6 and a 7. So we have a 6. We have a 7, 8 pair. But I said no more 8 on a coin, right? 1 more 8 on a coin. Ah, and those are that pair. Yes, okay. That does make sense. Then must be something else like that. Oh well, 7 aligns, 7 aligns, so that's the only place 7 can go. So that's 6 or 8. So that, oh, that couldn't be 7 anyway. Right. And what is still causing problems? because this is 6, 7, and 8 in some set. One of those is 7. There's just going to be a 6-8 pair. That's the only thing that is saying. Oh, well, this 6 places that 6, places that 8. I want to do it with a different way than hoping I counted correctly, but I might have to. What am I doing? Yes, okay. That is now not a 6. Okay, that 8 makes that a 7, that a 6, that an 8, that a 6, that an 8, 7, 6, a 9, a 6, a 9, and an 8, and a 6, an 8, and a 4. That reveals a hidden puzzle, which I think these are all thermometers. Yes. Okay. Interesting. And it revealed the boss puzzle, which I'm not going to do now. I'm going to do later. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice day, and see you later. Bye bye.